rewinding a little bit, talking about getting people to learn swimming, you talked about triathletes. What's your experience, going about getting pushed with former athletes that never swum before, picking up swimming? Triathletes or other, how do they, we talk about getting pushed, and in that sense, right, pushing is probably the wrong answer because they're just gonna grind their way through the water, and it's not very pretty, admittedly.
So my experience so we've had three of my very favorite. So first, those athletes are sinkers. They're not floaters, right?
100%.
So whole different ball game from standard process. And I've got there are three guys who just come to mind every single time. Actually, there are four people, but three of them are guys. One was a college basketball player who won all kinds of awards. One was a college discus thrower who was just, he was just huge, just massive, massive
all
guy.
Mass, for sure.
I'll come back to the other guy. And then the lady was a cheer coach, and she was this little teeny ball of muscle, right? I mean, just muscle. And for all of them, they were used to going, used to driving, used to pushing, and they had. One of the hard things for sinkers, right, is that most of them, especially the athletic ones, are used to succeeding. I mean, they're used to driving, they're used to succeeding, going from there. And most of them, by the time they come to me, they have tried multiple lessons, and they've seen all these people float around them, and they haven't been able to float, and they felt like failures multiple times. And it's like,
Sure.
What the heck? There's something wrong with me in this space. And they don't have other people in the class sinking with them, which is a sad thing. So it's fun to get them together with other sinkers and say, see, this is just physics. Now let's talk about how to move you from there. But the first thing that I really struggle with is getting them to drop into the water and to just be calm and to get used to sinking and to sink calmly. To your point, be the water. I love that. I think that's cool. It's stolen. Consider it stolen.
Sure.
But we just get them to sink and to get comfortable. It's like, I'm not moving. I'm not swimming. It's like, it comes. You got to feel this piece. You got to see you sink slower. You got to see you don't drop like a rock like you say you do or think you do. Once we get this piece in place and now we know where you are, now let's use those skills you've got to help you propel and move, and then we'll get you to the top and go from there. So it's, especially the ones who are really, really driven, the hard thing is to get them to stop driving, because the driving, they're just not driving towards the thing that's going to get them there in most cases.
Sure.
In most cases.
And this can be literal or proverbial. With my competitive athletes, what I talk about is, if you want to hear a rattle in the engine, you've got to slow it down. So if you're driving too fast, the noise of the engine is going to drown out a loose bolt.
I love that. Yeah.
The moment you slow it down, you're going to hear that bolt clanking all over the engine, all over the compartment, right? And so it can be used in a proverbial sense that if you're just going all gas, no brakes, you're never going to see what's wrong with what you've been doing. And then it just leads to a futile cycle. Another example is writing an essay, right? We write so many things. We're used to our own participles of speech and just our patterns and syntax, right? And when we write something, we might read it and be like, oh yeah, it's good. I've read, reading books, things like that.
I never say that,
but if you read it out loud, you might find and read it slowly, you might find some of your mistakes instead of reading it as though it's just a book that you're skimming, because you're not going to recognize your own mistakes. Yeah. Because in our own minds, we're perfect, right? And so naturally we're not going to attribute some of the mistakes.
Thanks for watching today's video. If you liked it, be sure to subscribe, share, ring the bell, comment with any questions. If you're in the DFW area and you'd like more information on swim lessons or swim team, be sure to visit www.sigmaswim.org.